Okay, so what is up guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I want to talk about this phone, the iPhone 12. I've been using this phone for a bit now and I just wanted to share my thoughts with you guys and pretty much tell you why I think you should absolutely not buy this phone. Let's get into it.
We are the reason opposites attract. Once you slam the door on the second floor, I regret it all. When I think it through, I can help the way I feel for you.
So, absolute transparency, I have been called an iPhone fanboy for a very long time, and to be very honest, it's probably true. I really love Apple products and I use them in my day-to-day, every single day. In fact, I don't think I can get through a day without using something that was made by Apple. That's just the reality of my life. Now, this iPhone 12, however, I don't think you should buy it because it feels like it's not very great value for money. And in this video, I'm going to break it down and pretty much tell you everything there is to know about this phone. First thing is the unboxing experience, right? There's really not much to say about the unboxing for the iPhones this year. It's not as if there was a lot to say about the unboxing for the iPhones in the past anyway. You basically get this really small box that has a phone with a paper stock in front of it. You're going to get like a cable, USB-C to lightning cable, and you're going to get some stickers, and that's about it. There's no point making an entire section of a video about that. Now, let's talk about why you are actually here. The design, the size, and the weight of this phone. It's a new design quite alright, very semblant of the iPhone 5, and it actually does look really good. For a phone of this size, to have tapered edges and look like the iPhone 5 and actually be built premium with the glass back and glass front and wireless charging and the MagSafe charging and all that, it's really nice. I like it. I actually really do like it. The part where this starts to become a problem for me is in the weight category. This phone is only 135 grams. That is 30 grams less than last year's iPhone 11. I do not understand the obsession with making everything thinner and lighter, but it's not working for me. You see, the fact that 30 grams came off of the weight of this phone made it so much lighter that it didn't feel like I was holding a premium phone, at least to me. Maybe to other people lighter is better, and in most cases it is, especially if you're crazy about carrying light camera gear when you want to travel and stuff. But this is a phone. 165 grams was not heavy for a phone, so why did they need to make it lighter? Like, this feels like if I dropped it, I will probably break it seriously. Yes, I know we will talk more about the display and the new coating and protection and all of that, but no, I don't like the fact that this phone is 30 grams lighter, and I should probably stop ranting about that and get back to the video. This year, one of the only things that actually changed with this phone is going to have to be the quality of the display. This is a Super Retina XDR 6.1 inch display. Yes, last year was also 6.1 inches, but this one feels smaller probably because of the tapered edges, and it just feels like a smaller phone next to the iPhone 11, even though it really isn't. It's the exact same screen size. It's an OLED display with a resolution of 2532 by 1170 pixels. What that means is you can finally watch true 1080p video and even 4K video on YouTube with this phone, which is great, but I didn't notice a huge difference. The fact is, when I had both displays in my hand and I actually used both phones side by side, it didn't feel like something was different. I mean, yes, it's better, but you cannot noticeably tell that, oh my god, this is a Super Retina display and this other one is just an LCD display. Like, there is no huge difference in both displays that makes it worth all that extra money. And the fact is, yes, while you get the deeper blacks and all of that, you're not going to be able to tell after actually using this phone for a few days that you just switched to a newer phone that has the better screen. The Super Retina XDR display, the OLED screen, it's great, but I don't think it was worth the extra money. Now, moving to the spec section for this phone has the A14 Bionic chip. Now, this is the fastest of any iPhone ever made, and like every year before that, they're going to tell you that this chip is much faster, much more power efficient, much more this, much more that. The truth of the matter is, every chip since the A10 Bionic has been fantastic. Like, I have never used an iPhone ever since the iPhone 8 that stuttered, that lagged, that had any slowdowns ever, so this is no different. The A14 is fantastic. It runs my apps, everything in the background. I don't have any issues to worry about my apps closing on me, or pretty much anything happening that I felt like my phone couldn't handle it. I edit videos on my phone, I edit photos with Adobe Lightroom on my phone, I text all day, I message people all day, I'm on Twitter tweeting, I'm on Instagram, you know, I'm watching YouTube videos, and I never actually try to close down any apps because I know my phone can handle it. And sometimes I just feel like playing games and I go ahead and play Monopoly or whatever, and my phone handles it like a champ. Now, moving on to unlocking this phone, the Face ID on this phone works fantastic. And as of this moment, the iOS 14.3 beta actually lets you use your Face ID with your face mask on. So it's been really annoying the past few months going out and, you know, not being able to unlock my phone with Face ID and having to type in my password every single time. But now Apple is actually gonna have to fix that so you can actually use your Face ID with your face mask on without having to re-register your face with your face mask on. That's actually awesome. Although, as at the time of making this video, the iOS 14.3 beta is not publicly available yet, but you can actually get your hands on it just as soon as it rolls out for your phone. You will be able to install this and you can now use your phone with your face mask on, which is great. But beyond that, the actual Face ID works fantastic. The same with the iPhone 11's Face ID works. You can unlock from some very weird angles. You can unlock while you're on the bed, but it's not going to work if your eyes are closed, which is fantastic for security. Face ID works perfectly. So security wise, you're covered. But now I want to talk about the cameras on this phone. You have dual sensors. They're both 12 megapixels. The regular sensor, the wide one, is basically 12 megapixels f1.6, which is 0.1 wider or brighter than last year's f1.7. And you also have the 12 megapixel f2.4 ultra wide sensor, which takes your ultra wide pictures, honestly. And that's about it. Nothing's changed. In fact, I couldn't tell or notice a difference between the camera on this phone and the camera on the iPhone 11. Like, dare I say there was no difference. It's the exact same camera. I'm not sure what they changed or what they said they changed, but to me, it's the same camera. It's a fantastic camera on this phone, exactly like last year's phone. And while I really love the cameras on this phone, I cannot get myself to just tell you to buy it because, oh, the cameras are so amazing. If you had the iPhone 11 already, you already have the same set of cameras and they work just as well. The selfie camera is also pretty much the same thing as last year, 12 megapixel f2.2 camera, I believe, and it takes amazing selfies. You can actually take portrait mode photos with your selfies and they look pretty much fantastic. The quality that you've grown to expect from iPhones, you get it with this phone. Speaking of the video quality that the cameras are actually able to record, you're able to record HDR video up to 30 frames per second. You can record 4K video at 24 frames, 30 frames, and 60 frames per second. You can record 1080p video at 30 frames and 60 frames, and you can record 720p video at 30 frames per second. And you actually can do slow-mo videos at 1080p, 120 FPS, or even all the way up to 240 frames per second. You also get night mode time lapse and all these other things that you're probably never going to use in your phone. They tell you about all this landscape things and time lapse things and continuous autofocus video things, like things that you're probably never going to use. They have all that stuff there and it's great, fantastic. Same thing with last year. Now, the microphones on this phone are fantastic. In fact, I think I should record a voice note or voice memo right now so that you can actually hear what this sounds like. So this is basically what the voice memo on this phone sounds like. It sounds pretty much fantastic. I actually like it. I mean, I feel like this is probably another part that there was a subtle improvement from last year, the speakers and the actual microphone on the phone. The speakers just sound that little bit louder and the microphone actually sounds just a little bit clearer than last year. But for all intents and purposes, as far as I can tell, it's the exact same mic with the exact same speakers. Probably the thing amplifying it now is the form factor of the phone. Now, speaking about phone calls, of course, this phone also integrates into all your other devices. So if you have a call on your phone and you don't actually have it next to you, you can very easily pick up your phone calls on your laptop if you're in the office or in the living room or something. And you can also do that on your iPad, so you don't have to actually search for your phone all over the place. When you have phone calls, your phone lets you pick it on any other iOS device that you have close by because it's just that seamless to use. And again, I had the exact same feature on my phone last year. So just like last year, you can actually enter up to 6 meters of water with your phone and stay there for a certain number of minutes due to the IP67, 68 water resistant, whatever that thing is called. All I know is my phone is pretty much splash proof I'm not going to advise anybody to actually go swimming with your phones, no matter how much water resistant they tell you that your phone is. It's not wise, but obviously if you get caught in the rain or something, or some light drizzle, or some water just spills onto your phone, or you're having a drink and it spills, your phone will be fine, and that's great. That is probably the extent of how I test water resistance with phones. I wouldn't say go swimming or go snorkeling with this phone. Don't do it. But durability wise, because this phone actually has tapered edges, and because the handling for the phone is a little better, there's a very good chance that you're going to drop this phone a lot less than the iPhone 11 or the iPhone 10R before it, which is great. I mean, you don't have to worry about dropping your phone because the phone actually fits snug in your hand, and you can actually hold it very, very well, regardless of the fact that it actually has a glass back and a glass front. I like the tapered metal around the edges, and it just helps give the phone better handling, which I think is fantastic. So the battery in this is a 2815 milliamp hours battery, which is just slightly smaller than last year's phone. And honestly, I couldn't really tell a difference. Maybe it's the A14 Bionic chip that's just better optimized with the battery, but it just works about the same. I get about the same battery life, throughout the day. Maybe I'm using this phone for up to 6 hours of screen on time, and at the end of the day I have like 35% battery left, and I just drop it on a wireless charger and I pick it up 100% the next morning. So I am totally fine with the battery life on this phone. 2815 milliamps per hour does not sound like a lot of battery, but it actually holds up throughout the day if you're not somebody who is doing some heavy gaming on your phone. So I don't have any complaints about that. So the part of this video that you've been waiting for, the reason why at the beginning of this video I said that this is probably the best phone that you should never buy. Well, that statement has like layers to it. See, it's like this. If you had the iPhone 11 before this, definitely do not buy this phone and save yourself the buyer's remorse. You see, because you're getting the exact same phone in my opinion. Yes, they improved a few things. They said they put in a better screen. They gave you the A14 Bionic. They gave you Dolby Vision, Atmos, whatever video, which you're probably never going to use. They gave you the OLED screen, the Super Retina XDR, HDR, XWY screen, and again, you're probably never going to notice that. So at the end of the day, what are you actually paying for? I feel like it's the Apple tax. Yes, I am an absolute Apple fanboy. I support everything that Apple does. I love all their products, but the fact is, I cannot bring myself to actually say, get this phone over the iPhone 11. Yes, is it a better phone? Yes, it is, but marginally. It's not noticeable. You can actually pick up the iPhone 11 now for over $100 less than this phone, especially if you're even willing to buy it renewed or used. Like if you're not buying directly from Apple brand new, you can get it on a great deal right now, and that's probably the deal that you should get. In my opinion, for the value for money comparison, what you pay for it and what you actually get, the iPhone 11 is probably a better deal. But you see, the truth is, this is the newer and shinier subject, and this is going to give you one more year of updates and all that, and they are probably going to bring out some new features that they're going to lock to this phone via software with updates that you're not going to be able to get on the iPhone 11 at some point. And that's fine, because the iPhone 11 in its own right is a fantastic phone. I know I'm sounding like I am in love with my iPhone 11. It's not that. It's just that this phone did not feel like an upgrade when I held it next to my iPhone 11. I mean, initially it looks really shiny and nice, and that's great, but it did not feel like I just spent all that money on a new phone that should give me that feeling of freshness. You see, I'm really mad at myself, and the reason why I'm mad at myself is because I let all these Android users get in my head. They convinced me that the iPhone 12 Pro Max was not a great deal because there was no refresh rates of over 120 Hz or 90 Hz or something, and it's probably better to just buy the regular iPhone 12 for this year. And after buying this phone, what I've come to realize with the iPhone 12 lineup for this year is that the iPhone 12 Pro Max is actually the only good value for money this year. It's the only phone that brings anything new to the table. It's the only phone that has a completely different camera array. It's the only phone that feels like a proper upgrade. So if you had the iPhone 11 from last year, definitely do not buy this phone. And if you had the iPhone 10R, maybe you want the extra camera, then maybe you should. But honestly, you're not going to be missing much if you decide to stick to your iPhone 10R. And maybe if you had the iPhone 10s or the iPhone 10, or maybe even the iPhone 8 or 7, this might be a fantastic upgrade for you, and it might make you feel like you've actually got something really fresh. But beyond that, Again, I repeat, if you had the iPhone 11, definitely do not upgrade to this phone because it's not an upgrade, it's just a lateral movement and you're going to be paying more money for it. That was my review of the iPhone 12 and me comparing it to the iPhone 11 pretty much throughout the entire video. And I apologize if this video disappoints you, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you things that, just make something fancy so that you can go out and go buy something that you probably don't need. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I guess I will see you on another video that was shot by Kagan. Peace.